trusting your gut, I think, is important. I think when you start to scale, there's a lot of data-driven decisions, and it's great. As a consultant, I love when I can make a data-driven decision. But yeah, if your gut is not right, it's going to be very hard to go through early stages.
Okay, welcome to Founder Fridays, where we sit down with builders who've been in the trenches to talk shop. I'm Maxi, I'm LATAM Growth Lead here at Notion, and I'm here with Albert Gozzi, CEO and co-founder of Aleph, the AI-native FP&A tool that connects your data, strategy, and spreadsheets. Albert, hello, thank you for taking the time. Maybe I think there are some people who maybe don't know what Aleph is in our audience. So maybe tell us a little bit about Aleph, the product, what it is, what it does.
Yeah, so we're an AI-native FP&A, which stands for Financial Planning and Analysis Platform. So what we do is we connect to all of the different data sources that people care about, which typically is accounting systems, HR systems, CRMs. We centralize all of that in one place, in one single source of truth. And then we let people work with that in different places. So we have dashboards and visualizations, but one of the things that is more different is this idea of meeting people where they are, and where finance people are is spreadsheets. So one of the parts of the product is an add-in for Excel and Google Sheets that lets you interact with the data directly from spreadsheets.
Awesome. Is it only for finance teams or not necessarily?
It's we design with finance in mind in some way, but I think like the way that finance interacts with data applies to other, like, a lot of different teams, from business operations to like accounting. And I think like everyone that have spreadsheets is a very important way of them being, their relationship with data, I think can benefit from Aleph. And then there's teams that collaborate with finance, right? Of like, the head of engineering might go and look at their budget with the finance team, and they will be in Aleph because of that, even though it's not their primary tool.
Maybe let's shift gears a little bit. I want to talk about you, Albert. I wanna talk about your founder journey. Maybe tell me a little bit about like your decision to start Aleph and your journey, maybe from university all the way.
Yeah, so I think when I started my career, worked in finance at Procter and Gamble. Then I went to Bain, where we overlapped, and I had an interesting story at Bain, where I actually did work a lot with CFOs, and was exposed to a lot of finance teams and their problems. I also, early enough, built software while at Bain. I had a few projects where Bain needed software in order to like achieve the goals, and I played some sort of like PM role as a consultant, which is very rare. But a lot of that started to shape into, okay, this interaction of finance, CFOs, and software, and how can you use software to solve those finance teams. And I think that carried over as I was a CFO myself, and I was building the team and the processes. And I was always good at spreadsheets. I still say that I can challenge anyone at the company at spreadsheets. I know if I would win 100% now, because we hire a lot of talented people, but I will certainly give a good fight. And I think that the combination of that, plus being technical and being able to hack my way around coding, I think I see Aleph as that perfect blend of those two. And I think that it is the tool that I wish I had. It's based on a lot of scripts that I put together that were very hacky, and I think combining that with Santi as like co-founder of it's good to have someone like myself as a hacker. I also appreciate Santi's like PhD at MIT to like the proper technical validation. Yeah.
So there's two of you, right? Two co-founders, yourself and Santi.
Yeah, myself and Santi, very similar background. We're both Argentinians, both went to ITPA, both came to the US for grad school. I did my MBA, he did his PhD. So like very like it's the two of us, and great partnership.
I wanna I want to go back a few minutes ago. You said you were building software as a consultant. I'm curious about that. Like, were you building Excel macros, or what were you building? And how did everything change with AI now, right? Probably back in the day, you had no AI to build the apps for you.
Yeah, so Excel macros I build a lot. But in
Yep.
this case, it was like a project at Bain where the CEO of the company we're working with, which was a pretty massive company, a pretty big project for Bain, even at a global basis, said, I do need software. Like we cannot track the implementation of this strategy you're proposing in spreadsheets. We actually need software. And like if you don't do it, we're gonna go to your competitor who actually has software. And they didn't have anything at the time, and the best idea was let's put this 22-year-old kid from Argentina act as PM to a team of like external developers that were in India, and we'll stitch something together. And the funny thing is they actually worked. We end up building something, and we ended up winning the project as a result. So it was a little bit like surreal and out of the ordinary, but it was
Yeah.
a lot of fun.
Maybe, of course, we have to talk about AI, right? Tell me a little bit about how AI is powering Aleph, both the product and the company.
Yeah, I think it's massive in both. Maybe like starting with the company, I feel that because they see the impact in the product, I also think like the team sees the impact that they can have in their day to day, and I think we always want to hire people that have that mindset for automation, mindset for like can we do more with less? So we use AI heavily across the board in the go-to-market team. I think note takers are a great use case for AI. There's a lot of power there. We analyze every meeting transcript. Um, Deals move stages in the CRM because of meetings transcripts that like go and understand the context of the call. Account executives get a summary of the deals that they're going to talk to on a given day, and like the whole story of the deal as a morning brief. And engineering, our internal operations, design, like I think like every area has been impacted in some way or another.
Yeah, it's fascinating how it's touching every team, right? Every team is changing their workflows, their ways of working, their platforms, and their toolkits as well. You talked about the team, right? Probably the most important thing that Aleph has. Tell me a little bit about the Aleph team. How many of you are you? How are you distributed across the world?
Yeah, how many is always a tricky question. I do think that I will tell you we're probably like 60, give or take two, will be my latest guess. And as a fast growing company, we're lucky enough to have people joining every week. So
Mhm.
I have some range of confidence, and yeah, we're like the prior startup I was at was fully distributed, and I think one of the learnings that I had is that I appreciate the fact of being able to hire the best people no matter where they're at. At the same time, I learned that I do like, chatting with people, and the extreme async culture doesn't work fully for me. So we are remote within the Americas. So from like the west coast of the US all the way to, Brazil would be the other edge. Everyone is like within the, like a 4 or 5 hour time zone, which I think helps quite a bit. And yeah, we have like the majority of the team is in the US. I think like 70% is from the US and 30 is between Canada and Latin America.
I want to chat about Albert the racer. I know you are an avid racer. We raced together, I think 6 years ago. I did El Cruce. I know you've been doing El Cruce, which is basically an ultra marathon in Patagonia. I think it's you're doing it for the sixth time. You said this year.
Six times
Tell
this year,
me,
yeah.
interesting. I'd love to chat about Albert the runner and Albert the founder. Like, are there any similarities in maybe training for a race or actually racing the race and your startup founder journey?
I think it's interesting, but I won't feel as natural. I think for me, the the most interesting connection I see between like running and being a founder is like it is one moment where you can not be in front of a computer. And my style as many founders is I probably look at my screen time in my phone is 15 16 hours per day. Like I'm always glued to either a computer. And I do think that like one of the things that I miss the most of having more time is I do think creativity like often happens when you less expect it. And I do believe in working hard. I do think as a company we work hard, but I do think that there's something there about leaving space for creativity that is very important. And going for a run, and in many cases I go for a run like for hour and a half, and I don't even listen to music, so I'm there like a psycho with my own thoughts, and I think like that helps quite a bit. And sometimes I find myself thinking about something and using ChatGPT in voice mode, and I'm like, hey, I want you to brainstorm with me, and I think through problems or ideas, and then I go back to my computer and I keep refining it.
That's great. I like what you said. Creativity often happens when you less expect it. So you kind of use running as a source of focus and inspiration to maybe disconnect, but think about the important things for your life and for Aleph.
Yeah. It's very tempting when you're working remotely to be in a meeting and multitask. So honestly, when I'm running and I'm, talking to a teammate and I'm working through a problem, like it's sometimes it's when I'm the most present, ironically.
We always close these conversations with two questions. And the first one is, what is your main tool stack? I know you guys use Notion, so feel free to mention Notion AI, but tell me about your tool stack.
Yeah, so we use Notion quite a bit. I think it's like all for onboarding documents slash like internal company wiki and a long tail of very random use cases, and as I'm sure most people do, but like a core part. Let's see, on the engineering side, we use Linear, and I think that's our main issue tracker. Um, we use Figma on the design side, HubSpot on the sales and marketing. Um, we use like a tool called Ample Market as well on the outbounding prospecting side. We use Rippling for HR. And I'm trying to think. We use Aleph for everything finance and FP&A. And yeah, I'm trying to think. We use Ashby on the talent and recruiting side, and yeah, big fans of them as well. And I do think that like a lot of that is honestly not coincidence. I do think that exposing people to great products that like take craft seriously forces you to makes you a better product as well. I think that is like yeah, using great products coats your brain in some way. So like that's something where I do prioritize nice UIs and like great craft.
And the final question, we call it advice block. What advice would you give for new founders, people starting their founders journey?
I do think that like knowing that it's hard and knowing that it does feel a lot like flying blind and without like instruments or without control. So um I do think it's trusting your gut. I think is important. I think there's when you start to scale, there's a lot of data-driven decisions, and it's great. And as a consultant, I love when I can make a data-driven decision. But yeah, if your gut is not right, it's gonna be very hard to go through early stages. So I think like trust your gut and like I think accept that the odds of it succeeding is like very low. It's like probabilistically. So I think like trusting your gut and also enjoying the journey. I think like there's a lot of again going back to like the funding round, Series B, it's great, but like if I were only happy when we raise a round, I won't be happy very often. So I think like enjoying like what I enjoy is the day to day, like working with smart people, talking through interesting problems, and I think if you don't enjoy that, and I think I had to learn to enjoy that. So I think yeah, I wish I had learned sooner.
Okay, Albert. This was awesome. Thank you very much. Thanks for the time. Thanks for the insights. Any parting remarks? Any last thoughts before we close off?
Thanks for having me, and great to be here.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Albert. Bye, everyone.